This is Edward Douglas from ComingSoon.net. I'm here with an actor who busted into Comic Con yesterday for the first time. Well, the first time with him for the first actual event, which was like the big Dredd 3D screening, which was well attended, and he plays Judge Dredd. And it's actually funny when I talked to you 2 years ago for Red. It was like probably like a day before they announced you were going to play Judge Dredd. So it's fun that you're back here with that. I don't know. You were raised in Australia, I guess, and that's. Did you know Judge Dredd down there? Were you familiar with him at all? Or?
Yeah, I grew up reading Dredd. I was about 17 at the time, working in a pizza parlor, and the manager was a big Dredd fan. He switched me on to it, and I was just attracted to the sort of futuristic dystopian world, and this really hardcore lawman whose job it was to, to dispense law in the city. And I was really, as much as I loved the character of Dredd, I also loved the world, and I loved the people in the world. When Alex Garland, when I heard Alex had written a script, I immediately said to my agent, look, I really want to read it, please get it to me. She did, I read it, and I said, I want to meet these people. And then we took it from there.
I think one of the things about Dredd, I think, which again one of the problems with the other movie we won't really talk about much, is that like basically when you have a character who has a helmet over his head the whole time,
yeah,
like people get really freaked out because like, oh, we won't see the actor's face, whatever. But you do so much with your jaw and mouth in this movie, and you really create that Judge Dredd scowl, which is so distinctive. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about like how you worked that up and how you figured out exactly to get your mouth in that kind of a?
It was all part of the process of discovery, and there was a lot of preparation that went into this movie on a multitude of different levels. First, from about 14 weeks out, I began training, and that was just twice a day with a trainer, and that was a brutal process in itself, just to physically get into the condition that this character had to be. And then from there, we going to Cape Town and learning how to ride the Lawmaster, learning how to move tactically through different environments. We were given drill exercises where we'd have airsoft pistols, and we'd be actually walking through the sets and clearing rooms and moving in tactically in unison. And that was good. And then at some point we'd even have like stunt guys hiding in the set, and they'd sort of jump out and would be firing us, so we'd have firefights. So it was a really kind of realistic kind of sort of reenactment of what these guys do, and that really kind of helped get in the mindset. And then obviously there's a bunch of other choices that as an actor approaching a role that you have to explore and define, and the voice was one of them as well. In the comics it was described as a saw cutting through bone. So that's kind of my interpretation of what that meant to me. Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of a Dirty Harry in there. I'm not sure if I'm assuming he must have influenced the original comics.
What he did, yeah, it was a huge influence. But I didn't sit down and watch Dirty Harry films, and that's certainly not the basis of my interpretation of the character. But I do like the fact that some people sort of can equate the two.
We did a good job, like taking over for Bones. Maybe sometime they want to have if they want to do a Clint Eastwood movie, they'll need someone who could do that. To do Clint Eastwood, there you go. You already have it, halfway there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so talk about Peter Travis. I mean, he did an amazing job. I heard about this movie that was shooting in South Africa. It was really kind of very low key, at least because obviously being South Africa, you don't have tons of set photos, stuff like that. Was it like all one big set? Did they have like a big building they were using for this whole thing, or?
Yeah, we did. It was we worked in the Cape Town studios, which is a brand new complex just outside of Cape Town, and we were the first film that shot there.
Oh, wow.
Everything was brand new, absolutely amazing, great people. The South African crew are second to none. I mean, they're incredible. We had a lot of extraordinary, talented people working on this project. We had Anthony Dog Mantle, Oscar-winning DP of Slumdog Millionaire, and of course, we had Alex Garland, and he wrote the piece, and he was on set.
Oh wow, he was
24/7. And for me as an actor, it was just gold. So many times I could just turn to Alex and say, "What was in your head when you wrote this? How did you see this?" So, it was a true collaborative effort, and the good thing about Pete is that he recognized that, and he just allowed everybody to do their job. So
It's interesting because it was made like an independent film. It was actually kind of, I mean, obviously it's a pretty big financer and stuff like that, but it's like it was very different than, because usually it would be like a studio and the writer would be gone. They would have like 500 rewrites, and
yeah,
it's really interesting to have that kind of to do a movie like that, which is kind of maybe what's necessary to make a movie like this, where it actually seems like the comic in some ways. Did it feel like that to you? I mean, you've done kind of a mix of both independent and studio movies, and
yeah. I mean, it really it did feel like we were off the leash, and we only kind of really in the making of this film had to answer to ourselves, and that was wonderful. We could make the film that we wanted to make. Alex Garland just did an extraordinary job of collaborating with Wagner to make sure that that this sort of dystopian view of society and the characters all came together the way that it was envisaged.
so John Wagner was involved. He was involved with
Well,
the
yeah,
script.
yeah.
Oh, that's really, because that's also very different. That's also not something we get to see very often. The original creator
Yeah.
gets involved. Was he down in South Africa as well? Did he,
He
come
did
down?
come down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
he did come down, and it was if there was one person that I wanted to make happy with this movie, it was him.
And do they have any kind of reference from the comics as far as, did you either look at the comics for like the pose, or for like was there a lot of going back to the comics for like visuals and for?
Yeah, I mean, it was, for me, that was really kind of one of the first points of research. I got every Judge Dredd comic that I could get my hands on, and I would go through it, and I would find a passage of dialogue, or a frame, a drawing that spoke to me, that I related to what was going on in our story, and I would photocopy it and paste it into a book. So I sort of created this kind of this sort of collage of images and thoughts, and together with the script. And so when I would come to a specific juncture, I would say, okay, well, this is kind of what I had in mind. And I mean, even right throughout, if you look at the artwork, the posters that are about to come out, some of the the dialogue in the film, it's just stripped right from the comic.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, as a fan of the comic, I loved it. I was very unhappy with the previous one. By the way, have you run into Sly yet? Are you going to run into him later today? And
Oh, I have no idea.
okay. I'm curious whether or not you're going to say, "Oh, I'm in Dread. I'm here. I'm in Dread."
I think he knows about this movie. He does, and yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, look, our movie's a completely different take.
Right. Well, it's going back to the comics rather
this
than
is,
yeah.
This is not a guy running around in a lycra suit with a gold codpiece. This is a guy in a motorbike outfit with body armor, dealing with the harsh reality of what it is to live in this dystopic society that is on the verge of collapse. And that's the way we approached it, and that's the way it was executed in this film. Pulls no punches.
I gotta say, you've really kind of found a nice niche for yourself as for fantasy and sci-fi and action. It's between the Riddick movies that you're doing another one, and the Star Trek movies you're doing another one. This one, do you think that it took a long time for this movie to get made? Do you think it'd be possible for another movie? Do you think, or is it really up to
another
people?
Dredd
Movie? Yeah, I think.
Who's to say? That's up for the audience to say. If this film sort of really strikes a chord and finds an audience, then sure, I'd love to come back and make more. But at the same token, if this is a one-off cult classic film, then it's a pretty bloody good one, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I was very happy to see everyone out there to see the movie, because it's like it was not just a free movie. I think people are out there because they love the character, and they wanted to see a good movie with that character. Like it's just itching for it for 30 or 35 years.
I was just thrilled with how it was received last night. I mean, it was the first time that I had seen it completed, and I just wanted to see it for the first time with an audience, and it was amazing. They were just so into it. They were so engaged, and got the one-liners, got the humor. Yeah, couldn't have gone better.
Oh, cool. Is this the first screening? Have they done any other screenings? Is this pretty much it? Like, pretty first public screening, really? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of the first ones.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to ask you about something which there's a bit of a controversy surrounding something you said last week.
Oh, really?
About Star Trek. I don't know if you saw all the going back and forth about oh, maybe he was just joking. Maybe it was just.
Yeah.
Have you like? Was it just something you kind of like? I mean, I don't know if you could talk about it, but it's like there's a lot of conjecture and controversy about what you said and how you
Yeah.
said it. And
Look, I'm really not at liberty to discuss anything about Star Trek. All I can say is that I did that interview after a 22-hour flight from New Zealand.
oh wow, okay.
I literally hopped off the plane and went into that interview. Yeah, so I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem. Hey, I saw the movie Dread after 22 hours.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
awake too as well, but I actually liked it. I still liked it. I want to see it again when I'm a little more awake though. So what else do you have? What else have you going on? I know there's a movie called Overdrive with Ben Barnes, who's a
No,
oh, not doing that. Okay.
That's not correct. That's
Okay.
just a rumor.
Oh, okay. So that's not happening. So you know what you're doing next? Because you finished Star Trek already.
Well, I'm just waiting here. I'm hoping to do Red 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you don't know if you're in that movie yet?
Oh no, we're into it. We're just sort of trying to define what the schedule is and
Okay.
and what's going on there. But I would love to go back and play with those guys again. I had a lot of fun making that movie.
Yeah, it was really sad about Ernest Borgnine. I was like
Tragedy.
that Junket was like. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet him, which I would never have had a chance if not for that
Yeah.
movie.
He was amazing to work with. I mean, he's the real deal. He worked in the golden era of Hollywood. Worked with all of the greats.
Mhm.
You know, Monty Cliff and Sinatra, and I mean, just the list goes on. For me, it was so cool to work with an icon like that, and just to hear his stories about the old days and the golden era, and he'll be missed.
Cool. Have you read a script? Have you met the new director yet, or do you know much about what's
Yeah.
going to happen? Or
Yeah, but I can't tell you.
I know, yeah. No, I was curious because it was such an interesting movie, and they're adding new people, and they're
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you.
Okay.
But I can promise you, before the end of Comic Con, some exclusive Star Trek footage.
Ooh, wow, that's a nice little
It's
thing.
gonna come out.
So, but it's not. But we have to find it. We have to go around and find it. I guess.
You're gonna find it, but I'm gonna. Yeah, it's gonna come out.
That's nice. Nice thing.